favorite English teacher from outer space. みんなの大好きな英会話教師ひななだよ。Tonight, I'm going to tell you about differences between school life in Japan and America. 今夜は日本とアメリカの学生生活の違いについて話していくよ。どこまで聞き取れるかな？ The information regarding school life in Japan will be things that I discussed with a Japanese friend, as I myself have not gone to school in Japan. If the information is different from what you have heard from another Japanese person, or different from your own experience as someone who attended a Japanese school, then I apologize in advance. I hope this is still an enjoyable listen for you tonight. As many of you may know, in America, students go to school via the big famous yellow school bus every morning. I believe it's normal for kids attending public school to take the school bus from elementary all the way up till high school. Although it's common for some students to get their driver's license and drive their parents' cars to school. Some families that are better off may even buy their high schooler a car. Can you believe giving your 16-year-old that much responsibility? Apparently, in Japan, elementary schoolers will form groups with a leader who is usually a couple grades above everyone else, and they will walk in that group all the way to school. For example, first, second, and third graders in the neighborhood will be led by a sixth grader to go to school. Isn't that cute? I feel like it's too dangerous outside to do that in America, so gathering by the bus stop is the most gathering and walking alone that we did. Also, in Japan, many students may ride their bike to school, whereas I don't think I've seen that a lot in American schools. In the first place, riding a bike when there's so many cars rushing around is a very dangerous thing, so for that reason, I think many Americans don't even bike around. Let's talk about Japanese school lunch next. In Japan, students often eat in the room that they take classes in. Lunch ladies bring the food into the classroom and serve things like curry rice. It's such a shock to me because in America they would never trust children with food in the classroom. I feel like children would make a mess with food fights. Also, we were never served any soupy foods like curry, only dry foods like pizza or mozzarella sticks, sometimes bagels. Japan also serves milk in cartons, similar to the way they do in America, but Japanese people might be surprised to find that Americans often have several flavors of milk. In addition to regular plain milk, American schools often serve chocolate milk and strawberry milk. Though, in my opinion, the strawberry milk is very artificial tasting and not very good. If I had some now, I'm sure it would taste very nostalgic. In America, students don't really clean up after themselves, or at least they're not in charge of cleaning up the whole school. For some reason, I feel like they never trusted the students to do so. In Japan, it's apparently common for school children to clean up the school themselves. They must be so tired from a whole day of class, followed by cleaning. Not to mention extracurricular activities like clubs and sports. In America, there's always a school janitor who does the cleaning, and oftentimes gets on well with the students. I wonder how things would go if American schools made their students clean up the school. I had a feeling the school would get a lot dirtier than it was in the first place. Among the different fun activities there are at schools in Japan, Sports Day is the most similar to something we have in America. In America, I think we call it field day. There are also similar activities enjoyed on that day as well. Three-legged race, where two students tie their legs to each other and cooperatively run to the finish line. Tug of war, where two teams of students tug on two sides of a thick rope. In America, we also do a potato sack race, where students get inside a large sack and jump in it to the finish line. I heard in Japan, they sometimes do a three-legged race with like 30 students at once. I'm bad at math, so I don't know how many legs that ends up being. But I just chuckled when I heard about that because I think it'd be impossible in America. American students would be messing around trying to knock each other over the entire time so they wouldn't get near the finish line at all. The amount of cooperation they teach in Japanese schools is amazing. In Japan, students start going to cram school as soon as elementary school, I think. Basically, after they finish school for the day, they go to another place for extra classes to learn the material extra well. I apologize if my understanding of this is wrong. You never see it in American movies because it's a company, but in America there's actually something similar. You guessed it, Kumon. It's funny because it's actually a Japanese company. American children hate going to Kumon, but it exists and I also attended Kumon against my will. It's something every child has to go through, I guess, whether you live in America or Japan. Finally, let's talk about entrance exams. In America, there's typically only entrance exams for college or university, but in Japan there can be entrance exams as early as kindergarten. Though usually the reason for kindergarten entrance exams is to get into a special school system where you are set for college. That sounds both wonderful and stressful. In Japan, the entrance exams for college are usually different for each school that you are applying to, and the topics on the exam include things like history and science, whereas America's version only tests you on basic mathematics, writing, and reading. Oh, I forgot to mention that a different version of American standardized testing does test you on science as well, but I didn't take that one, so I don't actually know what extent they test your knowledge of science. Either way, I think it's safe to say America's standardized tests seem a bit easier than Japan's entrance exams. I do not envy students either way though, and am so glad to be done with all of that myself. Thanks for listening. I hope you were able to learn something interesting tonight, or maybe you've already drifted off to dreamland. I hope you have a lot of wonderful dreams about school. おやすみなさい。